My name's Brianna Parks, and I will be doing my persuasive speech today on the death penalty. Here's my outline. And here are the flashcards I will be using today. And finally, here is my audience. Okay. As of October 1st, 2016, 2,959 people were on the death row. And in 2010, it was conducted that it took approximately 15 years in between the sentencing and the execution of the average inmate. Being a part of the 21st century, I believe we need to reevaluate how we handle the death penalty. Extra court costs from the death penalty in between those 15 years in between while they're waiting to be executed comes out of every taxpayer's pocket, and that includes everyone in this room. Now, I promise you, the bill is much bigger than you may think. Now, I'm not here today to try and trick you into changing your opinions or beliefs about the death penalty. I'm just here to talk about the reality of who gets the death penalty, how much it actually costs, the threat it has against fighting institutional discrimination, and some common reasons people justify the death penalty. So let's consider who gets the death penalty. Chances are you've never really thought about who actually gets the death penalty. So you may be a little surprised to find out they have a few things in common, such as most people on death row rely on public defenders compared to private lawyers who usually have more advisement to give. Now, what I'm getting at here is John Doe, who is on death row, may have avoided death row if he could have put forth and paid for a better lawyer and potentially lessen his sentence by getting maybe life without parole. Another thing that most people on death row have in common is they tend to have a very traumatic past. This usually includes exposure to the juvenile court system, leading us to believe that if we intervened at an earlier age that we could maybe save a handful of people and prevent them from ending up on death row. Death row has also been brought into question if it's equally dangerous for all. Many people believe that the penalty harbors an institutional discrimination that other people have to pay for. So let's look at the numbers. 60% of all prison inmates are African American. Now, many people believe that race does not cause a significant statistical difference in who receives the death penalty and who does not. However, only 13% of the United States population is African American, while 34% of executions are on people of color. Beyond whether equality is achieved on death row, it is not an effective punishment. It is a great cost for society, but not just the money, also the quality of life. Many people believe that the death penalty will help reduce the overpopulated prisons. But this isn't necessarily true because the people on death row are still waiting those 15 long years to be executed, meaning that we're not really seeing that much of a change in the population. Also, you can see that the death penalty in California has risen over $4 billion since 1978. And how much does the death penalty actually protect us outside of the prison? Many people believe that the death penalty protects our citizens, deters crime rates, and violent crimes. Well, let's look at another option. Life without parole would be cheaper, and it would allow the prisoner to live with what they had done. A study was conducted and showed that it cost about $90,000 more per year to maintain each death row prisoner than it would to have them in general population. The death penalty also does not seem to deter any crime rate. In states that do have a death penalty and states that do not have a death penalty, the rate of violent crime seems to be about the same. And finally, we are all human and are fallible. So what gives us the moral right to decide if someone is worthy of being put on death row, especially if there's a chance, even if it may be a very, very slim chance, that they could be innocent? As you can see, there is so much more to the death penalty than what meets the eye. Today we have covered who gets the death penalty, the threat it has in fighting institutional discrimination, how much it really costs, and some common beliefs on how the death penalty protects us. I hope that I have been able to give you more and helped you make a more educated opinion on the subject. The death penalty has taken many dangerous people, but is it for us to really decide on whether or not it's worth losing that one innocent person because of a mistake? What if it was someone you knew or even a family member? And my audience is still listening.